Hi guys, it's Kelly and I am back with another video. Today's video is actually showcasing the new STAMPtember set that just dropped last night. This is Neat and Tangled and Simon Says Stamp, and the set is called Beautiful as You. It's got this beautiful floral border in it. I totally love it. If you've watched my last Neat and Tangled video, you know that they have a new illustrator, and this is also in his same style of the flowers, and I think it's amazing. So here, because one floral border is never enough, I mean, honestly, I'm actually going to stamp it twice. So I'm stamping on my usual Nina 80-pound solar white cardstock. I'm using Copic Safe ink. This is the Simon Intense Black, which is great. I also really like the Gina K, but my Gina K amalgam ink needs to be re-inked, and I don't have a re-inker yet. So I stamped this down twice, and then instead of moving the stamp around, I'm actually just going to flip my paper over because I want them to be stamped relatively close to each other. I'm just going to straighten it out. That way I have two sections of flowers, and then I'm going to put my sentiment in between. You could very, very easily create an entire background with this. So just stamp them the same way I did here, and then you could stamp them instead of line to line, flower to flower on the ends, and you would have a whole background with these little peonies, and it would be beautiful. So here's basically, I wanted multicolored flowers, but I didn't really want to take the time to sit down with like 12 different colors to make them all super dimensional. So I'm kind of cheating a little bit. You'll also probably notice I'm only using 2-color blends. But anywho, so instead of coloring them all each individual with the 4 colors I would normally do, what I did was I took my lightest color. So for the red, that was R35, for the pink, that was RV04, and for the orange, it was YR04. And then I'm just coloring in different sections of the flowers. Sometimes not even complete petals, honestly. And then, so I started with the red, and then I'm going to go into the pink, kind of blend them together. Something to note, even though, like it seems like they would all just blend together seamlessly, I did pay attention to the way I was picking the colors. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know when you're blending Copic families, you want to look at the number on the end. So I have an 3, 5, an 04, and 04. So 4, 4, 5, they're pretty similar enough that they'll blend. For my darker colors, I have an RV09, an R29, and a YR09. So they're all 999. So again, same thing, I knew that they would blend really well together. The other thing in picking your colors is I chose something called analogous colors, and I know that sounds like this big crazy word, but really it's just fancy for 3 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So a red violet, a red, and an orange, all right next to each other on the color wheel, so I know they'll work really well together. I could scoot a little to the right on the color wheel, and that would be red, orange, and yellow. That would also work. Left would be red, red, violet, and violet, also work. So I mean, you could pretty much do them any color that you wanted, as long as you put those 3 colors, like the colors you select are the 3 colors next to each other. They're always going to blend and work really well together. They're not going to give you brown when they mix. They're not, like, none of that. So once I have all the colors kind of smushed on there, I'm going to go back in with the darker colors and start to add my shading. This is just like super simple, following the same rules that I always do. Any point where 2 objects meet is darker, and then any point where one object lays on top of another is darker. So I'm following the same rules, I'm just applying less colors to it. I hope that makes sense. So just going through and doing those, and then once I've added all the shading with the darker colors, I will go back in with my lighter colors and then blend them back out, just like I would usually do if I had, multiple colors instead of just the 4. You have to excuse me again. Well, I was sick the last time I talked to you, and that does still seem to be hanging on a little bit with like the congestion and stuff. But if you watch my channel normally, you know just my allergies. I actually have an appointment with an allergist next week, so here's hoping they can come up with something that will stop my nose from running. That would be glorious. That would be so wonderful. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then when I did the leaves, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be talking in the middle of it, so I'm just going to tell you now. When I did the leaves, I did the same thing. I picked a two color blend, and I just did one line of dark and then went over the whole thing with my lighter color and called it a day. So as far as like things going on or story time, hasn't really been, I mean, life has been busy. As you all know, we got Emma. Emma's the new puppy. And I feel, I feel like the best way to describe a puppy is, it's somewhere in between having a newborn and a toddler. Because like you have to get up in the middle of the night with them like they're a newborn because they can't, hold it all night. But then also they get into everything like a mobile toddler. So it's just, we did have an incident last Friday. Eric was actually away at a bachelor party, and so I was home. It was me and Peanut home with the dogs, and so puppies play. And a lot of people, if you have never had two dogs, like you don't, I guess, really know what that looks like. And sometimes it looks like they're fighting, but they're not. They're playing because like their teeth are out and they're rolling around, and but it's not aggressive. Nobody's like back hair is up. Nobody's got their tail down between their legs. Like it's very playful. Their tails are wagging. They're chasing each other. It's fun. But puppies have extremely sharp teeth, just because, they're new little sharp puppy teeth. And so Molly never complains about anything. All right, straight up. She have taken her to get shots. She never pulls away. She never whines. I've taken her, well, honestly, the only thing she doesn't like is getting her nails trimmed. But she, what was it? Well, we were on the ice, walking her on the ice, and she slipped and overextended her ACL. She cried slightly when that happened. Like, it had to be so painful. But she's not a baby. She doesn't cry often. And so Monday night, this was before the Friday, Monday night, they were playing and Eric had heard one of them yelp and he thought it was Emma, because usually it is. And so he kind of broke him up or whatever. Well, come to find out, Emma bites the same spot on Molly's. It's like her chin cheek area. And so she had kind of really gotten in there where some of the other like scabs were. They were already in place from her biting in the same spot. So then we just kind of watched it, no big deal, did what we could to keep them apart so, Molly could heal up, but it didn't seem like anything that was a huge deal. Then on Friday, I don't even know when it happened, quite honestly, because they weren't out together very long, but I was in my bedroom changing. Molly always follows me in. Molly always wants to be where I am. Here I'm going to, side note, back to the card, I'm going to do a drop shadow just like I usually do, and again, just two colors. So I like to do my shadows as if my light source is in the top right hand corner, so all my shadows will be to the bottom left, and I'm just using a C3 and blending out with a C1. Anywho, so I went in my bedroom, Molly followed me in there, and Peanut was standing there talking to me. Emma's on the floor, and I go to pet Molly's face, and I realize that she's got like this open wound. So what happened was at some point they were playing, and all of those scabs that were in that same area just kind of ripped off, and there's this like quarter-size piece of her cheek that's missing. I shouldn't say, like, it makes it sound like it's this huge hole in her face. That's not true. It was very superficial, but it was like the first layer of skin was gone and her fur was gone, and it looked very red. It wasn't bleeding. It was just like raw. And I was like freaking out. She's my baby. So I start calling veterinarians in my area. And so I called the first one and they're like, sorry, we don't have any appointments. And I was like, I'm not trying to make an appointment because I have an emergency. Like, see how that works? So then I called the next one on the list, and as I was dialing it, I realized it was the same number that I just called. So that wasn't helpful. The third one I called, they closed in 15 minutes. This is no joke. I called at 6:45. They closed at 7. And I tell her the situation, and she was like, where do you live? I tell her, and I was like, I can be there. Like, I can be there before you close. And so, oh, here I just want to show you the difference. So the one at the top's been outlined, the one on the bottom had not. Moving on. So she's like, hold on, talks to the vet. She was like, we'll stay, just get up here, which was amazing because they aren't even my regular vet. They were so kind and wonderful, and I got Molly up there. She got pain, like they gave her a shot for the pain. They gave her an antibiotic. They cleaned out the wound, said there was no puncture wound. She didn't need any stitches or anything, that it would clean up on its own, scab over and stuff. So then I had to go buy a baby gate so I could keep the girls separate, because I can't have Emma biting her, in the same spot while she's healing. And I say biting, and I think a lot of people are going to be like, your dog's aggressive, but she's not. She's just a puppy. She doesn't know any better. So they are still like, there's no animosity or aggression or any of those things, but Molly does have a boo-boo, so I just keep them, like I keep Molly in the bedroom. I put the baby gate up in my bedroom. I keep Molly in the bedroom with the door open, and I let Emma run around outside. Then when Emma, outside, like in the house, then when Emma gets tired and falls asleep, I take Emma and put her in her crate in the bedroom, and then I let Molly out. Molly has to run to the house. Then anytime I'm at work or anything, Emma's in her crate, and Molly has the run of the house, which eventually they both will as soon as I can get this dog potty trained, which is a whole nother story. She is making some progress, but we did have a setback in the potty training, just because, so when they were puppies, they were crated in a pen at the foster's house, and because the pen was so large, they used the bathroom in the same pen that they slept in. Now they weren't sleeping where they were going to the bathroom because it was like segregated, but she's basically been taught that she can in fact go to the bathroom where she sleeps. So it's just a little bit of a struggle. Anywho, back to this card. So you guys know the deal with STAMPtember. Once they're gone, they're gone. So if you like the set, then you should probably hustle over and get it before it is sold out. That's just the way STAMPtember does it. The last little thing that I'm going to do to kind of finish off the card is Neat and Tangled has these super cute enamel dots, and they come in all various sizes. So this one is the sophisticated enamel dots, and it's got gold and black, which I think will probably be the ones I use the most anyway. And so I'm using the black ones just to kind of accent the sentiment strip that I have on there. And then that's it. That's the whole card. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.